In this video, I'll uncover all the symptoms that you must know about associated with small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, many people are suffering from gastrointestinal conditions, and that's why we discuss them so much on this channel, because most people who are suffering are not finding any true answers that are really going to help them reverse the problems that they're facing. So that's why in this video, we're going to talk about small intestinal bacterial overgrowth symptoms, Sibo symptoms. I was one of these people. I was one of the people who suffered from Sibo, and nobody could give me real answers. Nobody could give me anything worthwhile in order to help me reverse it. So we're going to talk about in this video the mechanism in which it occurs, and then of course the symptoms associated with it. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you some advice that's going to really help set you up for success. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and join our notification community. That way it can help you excel your health and your life. Now, let's go ahead and first talk about what is Sibo. Okay, let's start by looking at the intestines. So we have the small intestines right here. Now, when we look at the small intestines, this is where the majority of our food is going to be broken down and digested. This is where our body's going to extract the nutrients and is really going to give us life, okay? So this is where most of our food is being digested, right here. And then we have the large intestines. And when the food goes to the large intestines, basically, it's been fully digested, and there's just a little bit more further digestion that takes place in the large intestine. A lot of water is extracted at this point from the food that is left over. And then, of course, there's a lot of bacteria in the large intestines as well. Now, this bacteria is designed to stay in the large intestines, but due to many different mechanisms, it can actually make its way over into the small intestines and cause bacterial overgrowth issues that spiral out of control, and it causes a lot of gastrointestinal distress. Now, the thing is about this whole issue here is a lot of people will ask me, well, how did this happen to me, right? If you have Sibo or you have the symptoms of Sibo, which we'll discuss in a moment, people ask, how did it happen? Well, the truth is there's so many different ways that it can happen. It's hard to actually pinpoint it. I can't pinpoint how it happened to me, but it can happen in so many ways. It can be due to your gastrointestinal system having an imbalanced pH. It can be due to an immune system issue. It can be due to the food that you're eating. It can be due to so many different issues that it's really hard to pinpoint it down. But the fact is if you have it, you just have to work on reversing it. And so when we look at this issue, like I said, it's a matter of the bacteria from large intestines getting into the small intestines and just causing havoc, okay? And it can cause a lot of serious issues. This is something I faced. Nobody could help me with it. The traditional way of helping this issue is just doing rounds and rounds of antibiotics, which ends up in a further dysfunctional immune system, and it also ends up in relapse after relapse because it actually kills not only the bad bacteria, but also the good bacteria, and it just spirals out of control from there. So it doesn't really work for most of the people out there. So let's go ahead and talk about the different symptoms associated with it, because if we can first identify it and then know what to do with this issue, then it's going to be something that we're going to be able to reverse properly. So first of all, chronic bloating and distension. Okay, so like I said, I've had this. I can describe every one of these symptoms because I had all of them. And so this is basically that every time you eat a meal, you just become extremely bloated. You're someone who is pretty thin, but you look pretty thick because you're bloated all the time. And so this happens after meals. For me, it would happen at night a lot too. I would have this problem where I'd literally wake up at night with a whole bunch of gastrointestinal discomfort and distress, and even in the morning I'd feel like a balloon. So this happens, and it just happens chronically. It's just like, every couple days you're going to have it worse than others, but for the most part it's always happening. Irritable bowel syndrome. So this is basically where you're going to go through bouts of chronic constipation and chronic diarrhea, and there's really no normalcy there. And so that's something that is associated with it. Gas and burping is also something associated with it. With all that bacteria in there, you're getting a lot of fermenting of your food. So there's going to be a lot more gas, and there's also going to be an issue with burping just because of the fact that the pH is off within the gut. And so this is something that comes up quite a bit. Also, acid reflux is another issue here. This is associated with the pH in the gut as well. And as a result of that, the stomach just doesn't function properly. Valves don't close properly like they should, and acid's getting into the wrong places. And so there's an issue with that. Also, food sensitivities is a big one. Now, many people who have this will find that they'll just start reacting to all kinds of new foods all the time. And so, one day they, go to have their favorite meal, something they really enjoy, and then it's just, sends them spiraling out of control, running to the bathroom. And this could be something as healthy as fruit. It could be something like eggs. It could be something that, like I said, you normally would enjoy without a problem. So, you're just constantly finding new foods actually cause like these irritable bowel syndrome symptoms. Next here is nutritional deficiencies. This is also a major problem with it, and the reason for it is because when you have all that bacteria in the small intestines, remember I said this is where your food is mostly digested, all that bacteria in there actually starts eating up the nutrients, okay? So you are not actually being able to digest the nutrients and absorb them because they're being taken from you. So you end up with a big, severe nutritional deficiency. Almost anybody I've worked with who has had SIBO also has had some nutritional deficiencies associated with it, specifically in the area of fat-soluble vitamins as well, because it's actually causing dysfunction in the way that your gallbladder is working, in the way that you're absorbing these fat-soluble vitamins. And so nutritional deficiencies is typically always associated with it. It's something we have to look out for. Like I said, the bacteria within the small intestines is actually going and just eating up all those nutrients and you're not getting them. And then next is damage to the intestinal lining. Okay, so most people who have SIBO, they don't just have an overgrowth issue. They have a problem with chronic inflammation within the gastrointestinal tract. They have leaky gut. They have ulcerative colitis. They have Crohn's. I mean, they typically have some other issues occurring as well. And so when we look at SIBO, it's a complicated thing that's difficult to reverse. And so that's why, like, if you just go to the traditional route and they just give you rounds and rounds of antibiotics, you typically never find any type of solution with that. Now, if you go to the natural route, you're typically going to find, a lot of people just doing little pieces here and there, but really never giving you the whole picture. Like, for instance, I had a patient one time and they just kept giving her enzymes and lots of enzymes. And though it gave her relief, it never actually fixed the issue. It just basically kind of made some of the symptoms subside for years on end. And so there's a couple things that we need to do. And first of all, I'm going to put lots of resources out here. I'm going to give you a video. Check out another video I did on that topic, on this very topic right here. The other thing I will do is in the description below, I'll give you a food list because there's foods you must avoid if you have SIBO. The other thing I'll do is give you some other resources as well. Like I said, because I've actually suffered from this issue, I have chosen particular supplements that work very well with this issue. I've also put together an educational program on this issue in order to help you reverse it. Now, I can tell you that many people are finding that with these resources that I utilize in order to reverse my SIBO, they are finding great success in theirs too. I've had people who have said, I've been suffering from this for 5 years, 10 years, and it was only till I found this that they were actually able to go and help reverse this issue. So check out all these amazing resources that are going to be in the description here below. Give this video a thumbs up and also share it with your friends. A lot of people suffer from this issue and there's no answers out there. Put any questions you have in the comment section below and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. I'm going to teach you a lot of great things on nutrition, intermittent fasting, exercise, weight loss, and hit that bell notification so you never miss another video. Check out my other videos over here that are going to help you improve your health. I'll see you in the next video.